And so the Marlins team, I remember during that time frame, they did not have the biggest salary cap, but they were very successful for what they had to put on the field.
We went to the World Series in 1997, and we won. Our payroll at the time was 19 million, which was probably top half. I think the Yankees were spending probably somewhere in the 40 to $50 million range at that point. But for us as a startup team, it was still pretty aggressive. But we also lost that. We were budgeted to lose that year before the season started, $25 million. We ended up losing about over $30 million that season, winning a championship.
That's so counterintuitive that you lost money. So we spoke to Rich Gotham, president of the Celtics, and he said that in 2008, when the Celtics won the championship, they were also in the red. They didn't win. It's kind of a counterintuitive insight that the years that you win, you may not make money.
Sports, professional sports is a really unique game. I suspect at some level, collegiate sports might end up reflecting this as well. But, a number of times people have asked me, how many teams make money in baseball? And I would say that's not really the right question. The right question is how many teams, could make money? Because in order to win, you pretty much have to go all in at some level. And I think that, baseball does not have a salary cap, or as I like to call it, a payroll cap. The other three major sports do. But even at that level, other than in the NFL, they have aprons and thresholds that you can cross, at your financial peril. But you're able to actually spend more in order to win. And typically you're spending for depth. For the teams that try to, buy a championship, just trying to add 2 or 3 stars, I think you've seen it in basketball in particular, and even some football teams. It's really hard to do because the key word is, in fact, team. But if you've got the core and you're able to or willing to add some pieces, then that usually involves extra spending on free agents, and that's when it tends to get pretty pricey. And usually the other thing that's noteworthy is that usually you don't see the lift economically in terms of attendance, in terms of sponsorships, et cetera, TV rights until the next season. And so there's a delayed impact, and ideally, you can start to maximize the value of the championship. There are teams like, the Cardinals, the Giants, in baseball that are consistent winners and can draw a consistent crowd of people. I think that you're seeing that now in San Diego with the Padres. If you've got a consistent track record of winning, it's somewhat sustainable. The Dodgers, another good example, as opposed to teams that just can't get there. And at some point, the fans just say, you know what, once you prove to me that you really want to win and you can win consistently, I'll show up on a regular basis.
Run the Numbers is a mostly LLC production. Yelling an intro by Fat Joe. Artwork by some AI thingamajig. Podcast and video editing is done by Cleancast at cleancast.io. Nothing said on this podcast is intended to be business or investment advice. It's the sole opinion of me, a guy who feeds his dog too much ice cream and has a history of net operating losses, LOL. If you like this podcast, please hit subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And also check out mostlymetrics.com. That's my newsletter where I explore business models and financial metrics. Thanks for riding with me. Share this with your friends. Peace.